Walk into any dealership today and you'll see it. Rows of Harleys that just won't move. It's not because the bikes aren't strong or well built, it's because the bond between rider and machine is fading. Today we're revealing 7 models that dealers are struggling to sell. Stick around because that last bike is one of the best Harley for a fraction of the price. Number 7. Harley-Davidson Iron 883. There was a time when this was the first real bike that many riders dreamed of owning. It was gritty, it was bare, it was accessible. The kind of machine that let a man ride out of the dealership and straight into a new chapter. The 883 delivers 50 horsepower from an air-cooled engine sized at 883 cubic centimeters, producing 54 pound-feet of torque. It comes equipped with front and rear disc brakes supported by an optional anti-lock braking system, a conventional telescopic front suspension, and twin coilover shocks in the rear. Wet weight stands at 565 pounds with a seat height of 25.7 inches. The starting price is $11,999. But lately that dream has been sitting quietly on showroom floors, gathering more dust than miles. In its attempt to remain iconic, the 883 may have lost its edge in a market that demands more than just a familiar silhouette. This is a bike meant to feel raw and mechanical, not polished or overbuilt. That used to be part of the appeal. But now, riders over 50 are looking for a different kind of simplicity, one that doesn't punish their back or leave them wishing for an extra gear. While the styling remains iconic, the performance and comfort lag behind what today's market demands. It lacks a proper 6th gear, cruise control, modern suspension damping, and even the kind of throttle responsiveness that newer models offer by default. Younger buyers, for whom this bike was once aimed, are often opting for used dual sport machines or lightweight Japanese cruisers with more tech and better ergonomics. And older riders, many of whom rode 1 decade ago, have since graduated to larger, more forgiving machines that can carry more than just nostalgia. That leaves the 883 standing on uncertain ground. It is neither aspirational nor practical. Styling-wise, the bike still nails the urban minimalism that made it popular. It has blacked-out finishes, drag-style bars, and a solo seat that screams stripped-down confidence. But under all that attitude lies a bike that hasn't evolved. Riders can sense that. Compared to competitors, especially those offering liquid cooling, adjustable suspension, and modern rider aids at similar price points, the 883 feels dated. Maintenance is another consideration. While many riders appreciate simplicity, this model's lack of oil cooling or even mid-tier electronic support means that hot weather, long rides, and heavy use can result in a rougher ownership experience. It's not that the bike is unreliable, it's that it asks riders to accept limitations that were forgivable 15 years ago, but now stand out in uncomfortable contrast. Dealerships know this too. Sales staff often steer customers toward newer Softail options or previously owned touring models, even when a buyer initially shows interest in the 883. That's a quiet admission of where the model now stands, a name held up by heritage, not by current merit. In the used market, it still holds a place among loyalists and custom builders. But as a new purchase, it's fading fast. The next bike on this list proves that big power and premium polish aren't enough to guarantee interest. We've been doing a lot of research on these models, and we want to hear from you. Are you seeing the same trends in your area? Drop a comment and like this video. Number 6. Harley-Davidson Road Glide CVO. This was never meant to be subtle. From its first reveal, the Road Glide CVO set out to be Harley's ultimate expression of premium touring. Big, bold, and unapologetically chrome-heavy. It boasts 115 horsepower from the Milwaukee 8 117 engine with an engine size of 1,983 cubic centimeters and 126 pound-feet of torque braking, comes from high-performance Brembo calipers with dual front discs, supported by cornering-enhanced anti-lock braking system. The front uses a dual bending valve fork paired with premium rear emulsion shocks. Wet weight stands at 958 pounds with a seat height of 26.1 inches. The starting price reaches $54,900. Built to turn heads and haul serious distance, the Road Glide CVO offers just about every touring luxury imaginable. From the 6-speaker audio system and color touchscreen display to heated grips, electronic cruise control, and high-end fit and finish, it tries to embody the word flagship. And yet, in 2025, it's sitting longer than expected. What should have been Harley's Halo bike has become a hard sell for even the most loyal riders. The issue is not capability, it's connection. Riders in the premium touring space are more selective now than ever before. Some still love the roar and prestige of a fully loaded American V-twin, but others are quietly switching to adventure tourers, luxury sport tourers, or even high-end electrics that offer smoother power delivery and lighter feel. There's also a deeper psychological shift underway. The Road Glide CVO no longer feels like a tool for the open road, it feels like a statement. And in today's climate, not every rider wants to make that kind of statement. It's powerful and refined, yes, but also large, expensive, and increasingly out of touch with how real riders are using their bikes. Touring isn't dying, but it is changing. Lighter bikes with modular luggage, simpler controls, and more affordable maintenance are becoming more attractive. Even within Harley's own lineup, some riders are trading down. Many are choosing lower trim baggers or stripped-down tourers that deliver most of the comfort without the cost. And for those just entering the touring segment, the CVO label feels less like an upgrade and more like an overspend, especially when used models with nearly identical components can be found for $10,000 to $15,000 less. In some dealerships, the Road Glide CVO is now a conversation piece rather than a purchase. Despite factory attempts to update infotainment systems and trim packages, buyers increasingly ask what the CVO offers that truly justifies the price. When the answer is stitched leather and chrome detailing, hesitation sets in. Still, there's no denying its presence. This is a motorcycle built with care, designed to stand out, and engineered to last. But even that formula isn't moving units the way it once did. In a world where practicality, performance, and value now drive the majority of purchasing decisions, the Road Glide CVO is finding itself in a narrow niche. The next model on our list shows that even classic American styling and long-distance heritage can't save a bike when rider expectations evolve. Need better gear for serious rides? The gloves, helmets, and tools we trust are linked in the description. Go check them out. Number 5. Harley-Davidson Heritage Classic 114. Some bikes were built to echo the past, and the Heritage Classic is one of them. Designed with leather saddlebags, spoked wheels, and a detachable windshield, it offers a heavy dose of nostalgia wrapped in modern engineering. Underneath its vintage-inspired shell, it delivers 94 horsepower from the Milwaukee 8 114 engine with a displacement of 1,868 cubic centimeters and 119 pound-feet of torque-stopping power, comes from a front and rear disc braking system supported by anti-lock braking technology, with a traditional telescopic fork up front and hidden rear monoshock suspension. Wet weight measures in at 726 pounds, and the seat height is 26.3 inches. Starting price sits at $21,499. On paper, it offers a great blend of old-school charm and soft-ale performance. But in reality, buyers are turning away, and not because the bike lacks character. It's because the Heritage Classic is trapped between categories, struggling to define who it's really for. It's not quite a full touring machine like the Road Glide, and it's not stripped down enough to appeal to those who want a cruiser with minimal bulk. It rides smooth and looks the part, but it doesn't claim an identity riders can rally around. Many older riders remember the soft-tail Heritage models from the 90s and early 2000s as symbols of classic American style. They were weekend machines that could still handle a long-distance run, but that landscape has shifted. Today's buyers want more comfort, better tech, and a bike that feels either fully modern or fully vintage, not something trying to do both. That tension is what's hurting the Heritage Classic the most. Compared to other models in the same price range, it lacks clear advantages. The saddlebags are leather-wrapped and nostalgic, but they don't hold as much or secure as well as the hard bags found on full dressers. The windshield is removable but offers limited protection compared to modern fairings. And the infotainment system, Well, there isn't one. For riders looking to ride cross-country or even just cruise in comfort, those missing pieces start to matter. Younger riders don't give it a second look. To them, it feels like a bike built for a different era. And many older riders who appreciate the aesthetic already own a heritage model from years past, one that in their eyes still gets the job done. So why trade up for something that looks the same, rides similarly, but costs over $21,000? The result is a model that shows well but sells slowly. And in a world where floor space is gold, motorcycles that generate admiration without action are becoming liabilities for sales teams. There's nothing wrong with the Heritage Classic. It performs well, it sounds great, and it remains one of the most visually balanced bikes in the lineup. But it's no longer enough to just look the part. When a motorcycle lives between two identities, it risks failing to satisfy either one. That's exactly where the Heritage now finds itself. Not quite a cruiser, not quite a tourer, and no longer commanding the loyalty it once did. Number 4. Harley-Davidson Softail Standard. This one was meant to be the purest expression of Harley's cruiser DNA. No frills, no distractions, just a lean frame, a big motor, and the road ahead. That was the promise of the Softail Standard, and for a brief time it found an audience. But in today's crowded marketplace, that stripped-down identity is no longer enough. The Softail Standard delivers 87 horsepower from the Milwaukee 8 107 engine, displacing 1,748 cubic centimeters and producing 110 pound-feet of torque. Braking is handled by a single front disc and a rear disc setup, both supported by an optional anti-lock braking system. Suspension includes a conventional telescopic fork up front and a hidden monoshock in the rear. Wet weight comes in at 655 pounds with a seat height of 26.8 inches. The starting price is $14,999. It was supposed to be the perfect blank canvas, ready to be customized, modified, and personalized to the rider's vision. But what's become clear is that fewer riders are looking to build a bike from scratch. Most want a machine that comes ready to ride with style, comfort, and tech already baked in. The Softail Standard, for all its mechanical strength, shows up feeling unfinished. That sense of minimalism doesn't translate to savings when buyers compare it to similarly priced cruisers with far more equipment. And then there's the competition, both inside and outside the brand. Riders with a few thousand more dollars to spend are choosing the Street Bob for its better seat, blacked-out finishes, and passenger accommodations. Others are skipping over to used Lowrider S models for more performance and more attitude. Outside the Harley ecosystem, metric cruisers are delivering LED lighting, digital gauges, ride modes, and better fuel economy for the same money or less. That puts the Softail Standard in a strange spot. It's not affordable enough to attract beginners, and it's not equipped enough to satisfy seasoned riders. Even as a base for customization, its appeal is waning. Fewer shops are seeing customers walk in with a brand new Softail Standard ready for a full build. Riders seem more inclined to buy something that already fits their lifestyle rather than invest time and money turning a blank slate into a full project. Another factor hurting this model is the ride quality. The Softail frame delivers solid cornering and improved stiffness over older models, but the ergonomics are still tight for taller riders, and the solo seat, while classic, offers little support on longer hauls. Without windshield options, luggage mounts, or passenger pegs out of the box, many riders find themselves needing to spend several $1,000s just to make it tour-worthy, or even comfortable. Dealers know this. They're watching interest in the Softail Standard dwindle while other models, especially touring baggers or vintage-style cruisers, continue to generate test rides and sales. Some locations are quietly phasing out inventory or pushing riders toward pre-owned models with better value and more features already included. There's no question that the Softail Standard is a strong machine mechanically. It offers the torque, the rumble, and the low-slung posture that many associate with classic Harley riding. But these days, that's not enough. Buyers want something that feels built for them the moment they swing a leg over, not something they have to build up to satisfaction. The next bike on the list was designed to be a long-haul legend, but now even loyal touring riders are passing it up. Number 3. Harley-Davidson Ultra Limited. This motorcycle was once the gold standard for long-distance comfort. With full touring amenities, premium sound, and serious highway presence, the Ultra Limited promised a ride that felt as close to luxury as a Harley could get. It was built for couples, cross-country hauls, and riders who wanted to clock real miles in real comfort. Power comes from the Milwaukee 8 114 engine, producing 94 horsepower from a displacement of 1,868 cubic centimeters, and generating 122 pound-feet of torque. Braking duties are handled by dual front discs and a single rear disc, all with cornering enhanced anti-lock braking system. Suspension includes a 49mm front fork and premium rear shocks with hand-adjustable preload. Wet weight comes in at 928 pounds with a seat height of 27.5 inches. The starting price is $33,499. For years, that combination of features made the Ultra Limited an obvious choice for serious touring riders. It offered heated grips, a large infotainment system, generous storage, and passenger-friendly ergonomics. But in 2025, the touring segment has started to fracture, and the Ultra Limited, once a leader, is losing its grip. Riders are reevaluating what they actually want in a touring motorcycle. Some are opting for lighter adventure tourers with better off-road ability and lower weight. Others are choosing more affordable touring baggers with fewer extras and simpler technology. And then there's a growing crowd that simply no longer wants to deal with the size and complexity of a bike that pushes nearly 1,000 pounds fully loaded. Even loyal Harley riders are starting to skip over the Ultra Limited in favor of models like the Road Glide Special or Street Glide ST, which offer the same powertrain and handling with less bulk. And for those looking to go electric or hybrid, there's simply no comparable option within the full touring segment, making the Ultra Limited feel increasingly out of step with where the industry is heading. It doesn't help that the infotainment system, while functional, is starting to feel outdated compared to what's being offered by competitors. Voice control, integrated navigation, and user-friendly interfaces are now expected in this price range, and the Ultra Limited delivers only a portion of that experience. The rest feels clunky, dated, or overly complex for older riders who value simplicity on the road. The size and weight of the bike also limit its appeal to a narrower demographic. Riders in their 50s, 60s, and beyond, who traditionally made up the core of the touring market, are now looking for something more manageable. Long highway rides are still the dream, but the desire to wrestle with 900 pounds of metal at a stoplight or while parking has diminished. Used models with similar features are flooding the market, and that's having a direct effect on showroom interest. Why spend over $33,000 on a new Ultra Limited when a lightly used model with only a few thousand miles costs significantly less and rides nearly the same? That resale pressure is hitting dealerships hard, especially in states with aging rider populations. The Ultra Limited hasn't lost its quality. The engine is strong, the ride is stable, and the long-distance capability is undeniable. But that's not enough anymore. When buyers consider everything from technology to weight to resale value, they're increasingly deciding that this particular flagship no longer fits their needs. The next bike was supposed to carry Harley's legacy into the hands of a younger generation, but now it's just sitting still, waiting for someone to believe in it. Number 2. Harley-Davidson Street Bob 114. This was supposed to be the bike that brought new life to the cruiser lineup. With its minimalist styling, powerful engine, and dark finishes, the Street Bob aimed squarely at younger riders and seasoned veterans who wanted something lighter and more aggressive. Beneath its stripped-back look is the Milwaukee 8 114 engine, pushing out 94 horsepower from 1,868 cubic centimeters and delivering 119 pound-feet of torque. Braking is handled by a single front disc and a rear disc setup, backed by an optional anti-lock braking system. The front suspension uses a conventional telescopic fork, while the rear features a hidden monoshock. Wet weight clocks in at 656 pounds with a seat height of 25.8 inches. Starting price is $16,599. It had all the ingredients to be a breakout success. Bobber looks, high bars, mid controls, and plenty of torque. But instead of carving out a new space in the market, the Street Bob has found itself overlooked. One reason is that buyers in this price range expect more polish. The solo seat and bare-bones layout leave many riders feeling like they're paying more for less. And while the blacked-out aesthetic was once edgy, it now blends in among dozens of similar-looking builds on the road. Younger buyers, the audience this bike was clearly designed to attract, aren't showing up like they used to. Many are opting for used touring bikes, imported cruisers with more tech, or adventure motorcycles that offer utility beyond city streets. And older Harley riders often bypass the Street Bob entirely in favor of models with passenger options, fairings, or improved ride quality. Inside dealerships, the bike gets attention for its styling and stance, but test rides rarely convert to sales. One common concern is comfort. The mid-controls and narrower frame, while great for aggressive riding, don't offer the stretch or room many riders over 50 need for longer hauls. Riders love the idea of a performance cruiser, but they want that power wrapped in something they can stay on all day, not something that feels like it was built for short city rides only. Customization is another factor. The Street Bob is frequently marketed as a blank canvas, ideal for mods and upgrades. But the current economic climate has more riders seeking fully finished bikes, not projects. The cost of upgrading bars, adding saddlebags, swapping seats, or modifying suspension quickly push the total price above $20,000, at which point many simply opt for a Softail Deluxe or used lowrider ST instead. Even within Harley's own showroom, the competition is stiff. Models like the Fat Bob and Sport Glide offer more presence, better stock components, and a broader appeal to both younger and older riders. Meanwhile, the Street Bob finds itself wedged between categories. Not quite a starter bike, not quite a full-featured cruiser, and not compelling enough to create a lane of its own. It still offers excellent handling, a quick throttle, and the unmistakable rumble that defines the Harley experience. But that's no longer enough in a landscape where value, versatility, and long-haul capability matter more than ever. And now we've arrived at number 1, a bike that was supposed to lead Harley into the future, but instead left riders questioning everything they knew about the brand. If you're enjoying this deep dive into Harley's struggles, don't forget to hit the like button and let us know your thoughts in the comments. We've been doing a lot of research on these models, and we want to hear from you. Are you seeing the same trends in your area? Drop a comment and join the conversation. Number 1. Harley-Davidson Sportster S. This was the bold one. When it launched, the Sportster S wasn't just another model, it was Harley's answer to the changing motorcycle landscape. With a radically new frame, modern electronics, and a liquid-cooled engine, it aimed to prove that the motor company could evolve without giving up its soul. Underneath its futuristic silhouette is the Revolution Max 125 engine, producing 121 horsepower from 1,253 cubic centimeters and delivering 94 pound-feet of torquey braking, comes from a single front disc with radial mounted calipers and a rear disc, both backed by cornering-enhanced anti-lock braking system. It features an inverted front fork and monoshock rear suspension, a wet weight of 502 pounds, a seat height of 29.6 inches, and a starting price of $16,999. On paper, it sounds like everything Harley needed, but in practice, the Sportster S has struggled to connect with anyone. Traditional Harley riders find it too foreign. The styling is sleek but unfamiliar, the exhaust is high-mounted, and the overall silhouette resembles a sport-standard hybrid more than a cruiser. Meanwhile, younger or non-Harley riders who might have embraced the performance find themselves put off by the price, the ergonomics, or the limited versatility. That's the real problem. The Sportster S looks like it's built for speed, but doesn't behave like a traditional performance bike. The forward foot controls and low bars put riders in an awkward position for aggressive riding. There's no passenger seat, minimal luggage capacity, and comfort quickly fades on longer rides. The design also created confusion in the showroom. Riders familiar with the Iron or 48 walk in expecting a Sportster. What they find is a machine that shares the name but none of the DNA. The familiar air-cooled simplicity has been replaced by liquid cooling, multiple ride modes, and a digital display. For tech-savvy buyers, this might sound like an upgrade, but for legacy riders, it feels like a departure. Even the engine, while powerful, changes the sound and feel of the ride. The Revolution Max 125 is smooth, responsive, and efficient, but it lacks the signature lope and mechanical texture that define the classic Harley experience. That trade-off, combined with a price point that rivals much larger, more versatile cruisers, has put the Sportster S in a difficult position. Too modern for the old guard, too traditional for new-school performance riders, and priced just high enough to spark hesitation across the board. Dealers have done their best to position it as a new chapter, a new generation of Harley performance. But as of 2025, the reception has been lukewarm. It doesn't sell like a Sportster, it doesn't ride like a cruiser, and it doesn't convert showroom interest into ownership with the ease Harley was hoping for. This isn't a bad motorcycle, not by a long shot. The engineering is solid, the engine is impressive, and the ambition behind it is real. But in trying to reinvent a legend, Harley may have skipped a step, earning trust from the riders who kept that legend alive. Before you go, make sure to check out our next video where we dive into the crazy deals happening across the US. Motorcycle dealers are practically giving away these 14 models. You'll want to see where and why prices are dropping so drastically. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss out on more insider info like this.